Welcome, candidates for District 20 Congress. We will begin our opening statements of 30 seconds with Mr. Cabot. You may begin.
Okay, am I on? Okay, my name is Ron Cabot, and I have a website by the name of roncabotforcongress.com. You'll get a lot of information on me, my background, my platforms by going to roncabotforcongress.com. Right now, I just want to basically offer up two policy issues. One issue is regarding money. I believe campaign money, if in excess, can be influential to your decisions. And the second issue...
Thank you, Mr. Cabot. Maybe we can address that at a later date. Congressman Panetta.
Got it. Thank you. Good evening. My name is Jimmy Panetta. It's great to be at San Benito High School, much better than when I was in high school playing for Carmel High and getting our butts kicked out on the football field. I am running for re-election in this position because I believe that you can affect people's lives in this position. I've seen it firsthand through the service that we have done in my office, helping people with veterans benefits, Social Security benefits, or Medicaid. But I also want to make sure that we protect our values here on the Central Coast. We will ensure that immigration reform is done, infrastructure is done, and our health care is protected as well.
Thank you. We will begin our first question with Mr. Cabot. Mr. Cabot, would you be willing to open an office in San Benito County and begin to build relationships here?
Okay, actually, I had a lot of thought about this, and I went through the counties in this district, and I looked at the offices that are available in this district, and I said, why can't we have satellite offices in Hollister, in Monterey, in Watsonville? I don't see why we can't have it, and I think what I would do is I would look at my office budget to confirm that the funds would be available so that we could have greater access to the public. Because we need to know what you need, and if you're in dire straits, we want to know that, and we want to be able to help you. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Congressman Panetta.
Thank you. I grew up coming here to San Benito County. Obviously, I played high school sports here, but also I've shown up here. The day after the election, my first stop was here in San Benito County. We have instituted monthly office hours here in San Benito County on top of the fact that I show up here to many events, as I did to the county fair just recently. I make sure that I have a staff member coming here, set office hours, to accept any walk-ins that is needed. On top of our two offices that we have in Salinas and in Santa Cruz, please know that if you have any issue whatsoever, that you can call our offices and we will respond. We've had over 230,000 contacts into our office. We have a 90% response rate. I've had 800 meetings and we've had 1,200 cases closed out. We will continue to serve the Central Coast, and I will continue to show up and serve the people of San Benito County.
Thank you. This question is for Congressman Panetta. Describe your top priorities for an immigration reform package.
Great. Look, I realize that immigration is the #1 issue for the Central Coast, hands down. I've known that as a grandson of Italian immigrants. I've known that being raised here on the Central Coast, especially when it comes to our =1 industry, agriculture. Hands down, that's why I went forward in Washington, D.C., immediately started working with Dianne Feinstein on a blue card bill, ensuring that those who have been working in agriculture continue to stay in agriculture by providing them with a pathway to citizenship if so desired. But I think there needs to be comprehensive immigration reform. We need to focus on those that are here and are living lawful lives and contributing not only to our community, to our economy, but our culture. We need to make sure that our dreamers are protected, that those with TPS status continue to be able to stay here. And yes, any sort of comprehensive immigration reform requires border security. I'm not talking about a wall that Mexico is going to pay for. I'm talking about detection devices. I'm talking about technology. I'm talking about physical structures as well as people on the border. That needs to be part of our immigration package. So once again, pathway to citizenship for those who deserve it, visas, as well as border security.
Thank you. Mr. Cabot, do you need the question repeated?
Could you repeat the question, please?
Absolutely. Describe your top priorities for an immigration reform package.
Okay. First of all, I think we have to build a wall. We have to build the wall, and after that, one of the other things we have to institute is E-Verify to all employers. We not only have to, we have to enforce it as well as make it mandatory, all right? The cost of immigration, well, has been astronomical in the state of California. And I'm for law and order, and recently there was a House resolution that was passed with, well, it was passed basically by Republicans. There were 34 Democrats who voted against it. All the rest of the Democrats voted present. Mr. Panetta was one of the individuals who voted against it. He was one of the 34. And I think you should analyze the individuals, the other 33 individuals who were members of the Democratic Socialist Party in that group. So at this point in time, I believe that we've got to move forward with an immigration program by starting with the wall and then moving out from there. As far as the DACA individuals are concerned, there's a value in the children of DACA who have, who basically, I think something can be worked out with them. I think the president did try to work that out with them. The Democrats denied it. They wouldn't give them the benefit of the doubt. But I believe that we've got to move forward on it.
Thank you, Mr. Cabot. We will now go to our closing statement. You have 90 seconds. We will begin with Congressman Panetta.
Thank you. I sit in front of you as not only your U.S. representative, thank you. I sit in front of you not only as your United States representative, but as a veteran and as a prosecutor for close to 20 years. I believe I understand what it takes to serve and to serve the Central Coast of California. As a grandson of immigrants, we were always told why my grandparents came here to give their children a better life. But we were also told, because we were allowed to live the reality of that dream, then we damn well better give back to the country and community that gave us so much. That is why I've served. That is why I will continue to serve the constituents here on the Central Coast of California, making sure that I am that bridge from the people here on the Central Coast to the bureaucracy in Washington, D.C. and back. But I will also make sure that we fight for our values, our Central Coast values in Washington, D.C. Immigration, infrastructure, protecting our environment, protecting our health care, and making sure that our number one industry, agriculture, has the proper research funding necessary. I will stand up to anybody to protect those rights, but I will also work with anybody to make sure that those values are furthered. That's why I work with Republicans and Democrats to make sure that our values are protected right here in the Central Coast, because that is how you get long-lasting legislation, and that is how I believe that our U.S. Congress needs to work better, by making sure that we have personal relationships, and that will lead to our professional relationships, and that will lead to our ability to live up to our Article I responsibilities under the Constitution.
Thank you. We will now have a closing statement of 90 seconds with Mr. Cabot.
Okay, personally, I'd like to make a comment. One of the things I brought up earlier was my website. Again, my website is roncabotforcongress.com. One of my policy issues pertain to money and how money can be influential in a decision. My background is in tax. I've been in tax for over 40 years. I'm a CPA. I've got a Master of Science in Taxation and a Bachelor of Science in Commerce. I too am a veteran and was in the Vietnam War. This afternoon, since I am in tax, I saw that our congressman put forth H.R. 7071. I want to make a brief issue about okay, I just want to talk about this. 7071 will wind up basically taking low-income housing credits and give them to Big Ag. It's going to give it to Big Ag for basically housing for farm workers. What's happening is there's a safety net. This is Section 8 housing he's talking about. This is housing that should be used for our poor, for our citizens. Instead, he's taking the money from this issue and he's giving it to his friends with Big Ag, where he wound up receiving, according to the FEC, over $115,000. And that's why I'm saying my maximum contribution for my campaign is $99. I don't want anybody to say that I can be influenced by their money. Also, absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Thank you, Mr. Cabot. Thank you, both candidates.